Ever notice how some beliefs just feel like, well, they're just part of how things are, like built in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we don't even question them.
Right. Today's kind of like that. It's about authority. This idea that, I don't know, some people or groups just get to, like, tell the rest of us what to do.
And it's so deep, right?
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about questioning it feels wrong, almost.
Yeah.
Like you're attacking something sacred.
Exactly. Which, honestly, is what we're going to do today. Kind of look at authority sideways, you know? Based on what you sent over, this source material.
Love a good sideways look. It's not just chatting, though. This source is hardcore. Like,
Yeah.
it wants us to rethink the whole idea of authority from the ground up.
Yeah, no kidding. It's asking, like, straight up, are we even right about authority? And
Right.
what happens when we all believe in it so hard? It even says respecting authority and, like, truly respecting people.
Yeah.
Those might be opposites.
Whoa. Yeah, that's deep. Makes you think about what respect even means, you know? Is it just something we're told to do for authority figures? Or is it earned? And if it's automatic, what's the cost of that? Especially if you want to treat each other as equals.
Huge questions. So that's our mission today, unpacking this whole thing, starting with where this authority idea even comes from, how we get it drilled into us young.
Childhood indoctrination at its finest.
Right, no kidding. Then we're going to follow this source and see what kind of bad stuff might come from just blindly accepting authority all the time.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go back to the beginning then. Where's authority even start in our lives?
School, family.
Oh, totally. The source nails it.
Yeah.
Childhood. Think back. A huge chunk of whether you were good or bad was about obedience. Do what your parents say, do what teachers say,
Hmm.
later on, obey the government and its laws.
Right. It's like being good and doing what you're told become the same thing in your head.
Exactly. You follow directions in school, gold star. Don't listen to your mom. Grounded.
So questioning someone in charge starts feeling like you're questioning whether it's even okay to be good, you know?
Deeply ingrained, man. And it feeds right into this huge assumption we all have that authority, especially like government authority, makes things peaceful, keeps us civilized. Because otherwise, it'd be chaos.
The Lord of the Flies situation, everyone's running wild.
Exactly. But here's where your source throws a curveball. It says, look at history, really look. A lot of the worst stuff, the injustice, the killing, it didn't come from folks breaking the rules. It came from people following them. Government rules, specifically. Makes you think.
Chills, dude. And it's not saying like every rule is bad or that we don't need any kind of organization. It's specifically this authority thing it has a problem with, this right to rule. That's what it calls it.
Right, right. Like your boss and you, or a master craftsman and their apprentice, even coach and athlete. Sure, there's some hierarchy, someone knows more. But everyone's there because they want to be.
Exactly. You can quit your job, right?
Correct.
The apprentice can walk away. It's based on like skill or knowledge that's useful, not just I'm in charge, so do it.
100%.
Yeah.
So the source is saying, don't just check out all leadership. Question this idea that some group just automatically gets to boss everyone else around, you know?
For sure. Okay, so we're all programmed to love authority from like day one, but why does it stick so hard, especially when history's kind of like, guys, this might not be the best idea?
Hits a psychological nerve, doesn't it? Your
Yeah.
source makes a point. When tons of people believe something, even if it's like totally wacky, it starts feeling reasonable. Comfort in numbers, right? You question it, suddenly you're the weirdo.
Total outsider. And with authority, man, that's scary. It's like the whole world makes sense because of this thing, and if I'm wrong, what then?
Existential crisis time,
Yeah.
haha. So even with history showing what happens when power goes unchecked, most folks don't even think to question authority. It's like the base of everything. Society, even your own sense of right and wrong. Question it, you got to rebuild everything.
Who's got time for that? Easier to just assume government's real, it's needed, and it's all good. Right. Blind faith, basically.
Basically. And once you got that blind faith, all these other ideas sprout up around it, making the ruling class seem even more legit.
Right. Like government itself, the word, it ain't neutral. It's baked in that they're the ones in charge, the rulers. Then you got legislature, which is just a fancy way of saying the rule makers, making it sound all official and stuff.
Love the fancy words, don't they? And the source is picky about law, too. Like, yeah, there's laws of physics, can't break those. Then there's natural law, like right and wrong, that just is, no matter what any human says.
Like murder's bad, regardless of whether there's a law against it.
Exactly. But what this source is after is statutory law, legislation,
Mm.
the stuff governments cook up. And that's where it gets good. The source points out these lawmakers that get to do things that be straight up criminal for you or me. Commanding, taxing, controlling stuff. It's a double standard, man. Like one set of rules for them, another for us.
Talk about a double standard. If I go up to someone and say, give me money or else, that's robbery, right? But the government does it. It's taxation, all nice and legal.
Right. Or try telling someone exactly where they can go, what they can do. Yeah, kidnapping, harassment, whatever. But politicians do it. It's regulations, keeping us safe.
And who cares about these laws?
Yeah.
Law enforcement, right. There's your authority on display, up close and personal. Think of that classic busted taillight.
Ooh, yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Random dude stops you, demands cash for it. That's extortion. Right. Cop does it, ticket, fine, all part of the job. Same broken light, different story.
Crazy, right? And what's wild is cops, they'll even say it. I ain't making the rules, just enforcing them. Like that makes it all okay. Not their fault, just doing their job.
Just following orders, right. And we all know how that ends up.
Chilling stuff.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder about country, too, you know? We all get warm and fuzzy about it, the land, the people. But the source says, nah, it's just whatever area government decides it's in charge of. Borders drawn on a map, that's all.
Deep. So all these words, ideas, they're all tied up together, making us believe in authority even harder. But the source ain't done yet. It wants to take down the excuses we use to prop up this whole belief system.
Time for some myth busting. Lay it on me.
All right, the big one, the crowd favorite. Representative government.
We're in charge, right?
Yeah.
Because we vote for who bosses us around.
The illusion of choice, right.
Right. But the source says, hold up. Even if it worked perfectly, which it doesn't, how can one government really represent everyone? We all want different things.
Unless everyone wants the exact same thing all the time, which, good luck with that. So what happens is the bigger groups just get to push the smaller ones around. Tyranny of the majority, right?
Source calls it out hard. And there's another point. This one's huge. Can a representative have more rights than the people they're representing?
Right.
Like, I can't just take your stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I can vote for a politician who then makes a law that does take your stuff. Yeah. Taxation, eminent domain, all that.
Wait, so I'm giving away rights I don't even have by voting? What kind of logic is that? Right. And the source says, think about it. Even folks who love voting, they don't feel responsible when the politicians they picked screw things up. It's like they're disconnected from the whole idea of actually being represented.
Source says it's more like master and slave than anything else, no matter what pretty words they use.
Damn. Okay, so if it ain't logic or reason making us worship government, what is it? What's the source say?
Get ready for it, because it's spicy. Faith. Government ain't about facts. It's like a religion. Dogma, rituals, the whole 9 yards.
Whoa, government as a religion, that's a new one.
Right. But think about it. Government's like this big, powerful thing, kind of like a god. It gives us commandments, which we call laws. You obey, you're good. Disobey, you're a sinner.
And the law-abiding taxpayer, that's the true believer, right?
Bingo. And the source says, in everyday life, government's the main god for a lot of folks. Like, if your religion says one thing and the government says another, who are you going to listen to? Government wins almost every time.
They're even nice enough to give us religious freedom, as long as it doesn't mess with their authority.
Exactly. Believe what you want, just don't get in our way. Okay, so we're seeing this belief in authority in government, says God, running deep. But what's the fuel keeping this engine going? What's the source say about immoral violence?
Oh, this is where it gets intense. It basically says that authority, at its core, it needs bad force to work. The kind of force we ain't allowed to use.
Let's break that down. Bad force meaning?
Like starting a fight. Aggression, right. Stealing, hurting folks, that kind of thing. Different from defending yourself, that's okay.
Right, right. So self-defense, that's moral. Initiating violence, that's a no-no. Unless you're the government, apparently.
Source says, think about it. If it's okay for the government to take your money, taxation, why can't they take all of it? What's the limit? And if stealing's fine when they do it, why not other stuff? Torture, whatever, all in the name of the common good, of course.
Damn gets dark quick, doesn't it? Like if there ain't no moral rules for the government, what's stopping them from doing whatever they want?
The source says it all comes down to this idea that the common good magically justifies doing bad things to people, even innocent ones. That's the whole foundation of government, and it's messed up.
Totally agree. And then there's the whole necessary evil argument, right? We got to have government, even if it sucks, or else it'd be worse.
Right. But the source says, hold up, you're saying we got to do bad stuff to stop other bad stuff. That makes no sense.
Double negative morality, haha.
Yeah.
Talk about a logical pretzel. So if authority's all about this right to do bad things, where'd they even get this right? The source asks, who gave them the right? Good question.
It throws out the old ideas, right? Like kings chosen by God, all that. It says those are just silly superstitions.
So what are we left with? We choose them, they get to rule, that's the modern story, right?
Yeah. Source says that don't work either. Like, sure, maybe I can let someone make choices for me, but I can't give them the right to boss you around. Don't have that right myself, so can't give it away.
Makes sense. And just because a bunch of people say it's okay doesn't magically become true, right?
Yeah.
Mob rule ain't exactly moral.
Source says if government power only comes from our rights and we don't have the right to rule each other, then the government ain't got it either. Their laws are just words, not commands we have to obey.
So either they got some superpowers we don't know about, or
The whole thing's a sham. And here's the kicker. All this authority stuff, it messes with how we even think about right and wrong.
right. Back to that good kid, bad kid thing.
The source says authority needs us to believe in right and wrong, so we'll obey. But then it also breaks those rules whenever it wants. Like, it's okay for them to do bad things because they're the government.
Talk about a moral loophole.
Right. So if a law says do something bad, the source says your real duty is to disobey. And if a law says do something good, you should have been doing it anyway because it's good, not because some politician told you to.
This is blowing my mind, man. So obeying the law ain't the same as being good.
Nope. And the source says if we don't have to listen to them just because it's the law, then they got no real authority. And if we got to follow our own conscience, then doing what the law says when you know it's wrong, that's just crazy.
Like a battle in your head, right? Who do you trust more, the government or your gut?
Big question. But if this is all true, if authority's a big lie, why is it so hard to see? Why do we all just go along with it?
That's like that Matrix thing, right? Hard to see the code when you're living in it. Your source says, when a whole lot of people believe something false, it starts feeling true. Nobody questions it, so it just becomes the background of life.
Like back in the day, everyone that thought the earth was flat, right? Seemed obvious.
Common sense, right. Until it wasn't. So think about authority, government. Everyone knows it's real, it's needed. To even think about questioning that is scary.
You just feel like you're the crazy one, right? Like, what am I missing here?
Easier to just go along.
No.
And besides, questioning the stuff at the base of your whole worldview, that can shake you up big time. Who needs that kind of stress?
Nobody. So some folks just don't want to look too close. But what about the folks who want to be in charge? What's their deal, according to this source?
Oh, it goes there. Some folks, the source says, they want power for all the obvious reasons. Money, control over others, just being the boss, you know. History's full of them.
Power-hungry dictators, classic bad guys.
Right, the Stalins, the Hitlers, we all see how dangerous those guys are. But the source says something even wilder. Given power to so-called good people, that might be just as bad.
Whoa, how's that work?
Source says, once someone thinks they're allowed to rule, they start thinking the rules don't apply to them anymore. Like, they can use force, do things they'd never do as a regular person, all because they got that authority now.
That's scary, man. And think about politicians. They make these laws that mess people up, ruin their lives, but they don't feel bad about it. Just doing my job, following the law, right?
Exactly. And then they act all shocked when someone gets mad, or threatens them even. Like, how dare you? I'm the authority here. Total disconnect from how their actions affect people.
So what about the folks actually carrying out these laws? The law enforcers, the source calls them.
Ah, the muscle. The ones making it all happen on the street. The source says, these folks, they'll often do things they'd never do otherwise just because they think they got the government's permission.
Like, I'm just enforcing the law, right? But the source gives some crazy examples. Busting into your house because you got a plant they don't like, taking your bank account for taxes, coming in guns blazing over a building permit.
Stuff that'd be, like, criminal if anyone else did it.
Exactly. But slap a badge on it, suddenly it's all good. Makes you think about those Milgram experiments, right?
Ooh, yeah. Those are messed up.
They got regular folks giving other folks electric shocks just because some guy in a lab coat told them to.
And the scariest part, it didn't matter who they were, age, background, whatever. What mattered was believing in that authority figure.
Just following orders again. And even though we all know that ain't a real excuse, especially after like the Nazis and all that, people still use it all the time.
It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card for morality.
Yeah.
Don't blame me, blame the government. And even Milgram, the guy who ran the experiments, he still thought we needed some kind of authority. But the examples he gave, like listening to your doctor, the source says, those ain't about believing in being ruled, it's about trust and expertise. Or just wanting to be safe. Makes sense.
So even seeing how bad blind obedience can get, people still cling to the idea.
Crazy, right. Okay, so how does this authority thing keep going generation after generation?
Source says, look no further than school. Good old-fashioned indoctrination.
We're talking public school, right?
Yep, it's all based on this Prussian system, where the whole point is to train kids to obey authority, period. No questions asked. Makes sense. Think about it. Show up on time, do what you're told, don't talk out of turn, repeat what the teacher says. That's a good student. You step out of line, even a little, you get punished.
Right. And even thinking for yourself, like actually solving problems in new ways, that gets discouraged if it means questioning the teacher or the rules. The source even quotes this guy, Fichte, who designed the Prussian system. He straight up said the goal was to make students unable to even want to disobey.
Wow, that's hardcore. So we spend years training kids to obey, and then we're surprised when they grow up and do bad things just because someone in charge told them to?
Source says it's no wonder people snap to attention when the government gives an order, even a bad one. It's all they've ever known.
And the messed up part is, the source says, believing in authority, it not only makes people do bad things, it also makes them lose their sense of how bad it is. Like they get desensitized.
Right? Like soldiers in war. The more violence they see, the less it affects them. Same with cops. They get used to using force, so they do it more and more. The source even says that's maybe why so many veterans end up with PTSD and all that. Doing stuff that goes against your conscience, even for authority, that leaves a mark.
For sure. And don't forget propaganda. Authoritarian governments, they love that stuff. They make their enemies seem less than human, tell everyone how great it is to obey, how bad it is to disobey. It's brainwashing, basically.
It's like they convince the folks carrying out the orders that they're doing something good, even when it's clearly evil. Like they're bringing justice when they're really just beating people into submission. And speaking of evil, let's talk about war.
Yeah, the source does not pull any punches there.
Not at all. We all hear about wars being for noble reasons, right? Fighting the bad guys, defending freedom, all that. But the source says even when you are fighting against some evil empire, the way wars are fought, it's always messed up. Governments using their armies to bully people, innocent folks getting caught in the crossfire.
World War II, that's a big example. They demonized whole countries, made everyone on the other side seem like a monster, even regular people.
Propaganda machine working overtime. And then there's, like, the nukes on Japan. The source says that straight up terrorism, mass murder, all done by a government thinking it had the right.
And it gets worse. They point out how the U.S. government defines terrorism, and guess what? Governments are exempt. Convenient.
Loophole for the rulers, right. The source even says nukes themselves wouldn't exist without this whole authority thing. The idea that it's okay for one country to wipe out another one, that's just crazy.
And if you're a soldier, you pretty much have to do bad things no matter what your conscience says. Orders are orders. The source says on both sides of a war, they're always hurting innocent people. It's never just the bad guys getting hit.
And at the end of the day, even if you're fighting for the good guys, you're still just helping the rulers stay in power. They don't want you to be free, they want you to obey. So all these soldiers fighting and dying, they're just pawns in the game.
And the rulers are sitting back, safe and sound, watching it all happen. And if a soldier tries to go after them, that's treason. End of story. The source even says, look at how the U.S. talks about, like, individual conscience and all that. But then they train soldiers to obey without question. Hypocrisy much.
Major hypocrisy, and it all comes down to this. Government actions, even in war, they're never really about defending anyone. It's about power, plain and simple. They just dress it up with fancy words and propaganda. The source even points out how the U.S. keeps fighting former allies, like Noriega, Hussein, whoever's convenient at the time. If it was about principles, they'd at least be consistent, right?
And all these good people dying for nothing. It's heartbreaking, man. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about money. Specifically, taxation. The source don't hold back, calls it legitimized robbery.
Strong words, but I kind of see their point.
Right. We're all trained to feel good about giving our hard-earned cash to the government. It's for society, for the country, all that jazz.
Paying your fair share.
Exactly. But the source says, hold up, that money ain't going to some magical country fund. It's going straight to the politicians. They get to spend it however they want.
And they always spend it so wisely.
Oh yeah, the best. The source is basically like, how's it better for them to spend our money than for us to spend it ourselves? Especially when you see where it goes. endless wars, bailing out their rich
The
buddies.
source thinks we could all do a lot more good with our own money without the government getting involved.
And the funny thing is, people brag about paying taxes, like they're so proud of it, even more than giving to charity directly.
It's like they're saying, look at me, I'm a good citizen, I do what I'm told.
Source compares it to like a slave being proud of serving their master.
Yep.
Messed up, right?
Totally. And try saying anything bad about taxes, all the law-abiding folks come out swinging. They get so defensive, like you insulted their mama.
It's wild, right? They're literally getting robbed and they're defending the robbers.
Yeah.
Okay, this whole authority thing, it goes even deeper, man. The source says it's eaten away at our individual freedom.
Like we're slowly becoming slaves without even realizing it.
Basically. The source says, look at how chill everyone is with this ruling class telling us what to do all the time. It's like they don't even see the problem.
Like it's normal, right, to have these masters in charge.
Source says people actually feel ashamed if they keep too much of their own money, even if they earned it fair and square. It's like they feel guilty for disobeying the government.
In the military draft, man, that's the ultimate example. People would rather kill or die than say no to the government. That's how powerful this belief is.
Makes you wonder what's going on in their heads, right? Like they're literally giving up their free will, their lives, for this idea.
They become tools, man. The source says soldiers, they basically turn off their conscience and just do what they're told, which is messed up for everyone. The folks getting hurt and the soldiers doing the hurting. And now the source turns to the folks just watching all this happen, the bystanders.
The silent majority, right?
The source says they matter a lot. Like, evil can only win if good people don't do anything, right?
But it's not just about fear, like being scared to speak up. The source says a lot of it is because people actually believe in authority. They think if it's legal, it's okay. Or they know it's wrong, but they feel like they have to obey even if they don't like it.
Yeah, they think, who am I to question the government?
Exactly. And the source gives these examples like, picture a dude walking up to you with a gun. Scary, right? Now picture a cop doing the same thing. Probably not as scary, even though it's the same situation.
It's just that badge, that uniform, it changes everything.
Right. And if you break the law, any law, automatically you're the bad guy. Disobeying authority is like the ultimate sin.
People get mad at folks who don't just do what they're told, right? Like, if you run from the cops, you're automatically guilty.
The source says it's like we're trained to be helpless, like a dog that won't bite its owner even if it's being abused. We don't even think about defending ourselves or others against legal force.
It's messed up. And the saddest part, the source says, is that people would rather attack the victims than stand up to the bully. Like, it's easier to blame the person getting hurt than to question the system hurting them.
Makes you wonder what side people are really on, right? And it all goes back to this violence thing. Even though most folks don't like violence, the source says, believing in government means you're supporting violence, whether you realize it or not.
Because every law is backed up by force, right? You don't obey, eventually they'll send someone to make you obey.
The source gets real blunt here. It's like, imagine someone coming up to you saying, give me your money and you got to do what I say or else I'll hurt you. Sounds like a thug, right?
Definitely.
But that's basically what the government does, just with fancier words. And because it's the government, it's seen as good and necessary.
It's all about perspective, right? Dress up robbery and assault in a suit and tie, call it taxation and law enforcement, suddenly it's respectable.
The source says, it's crazy to think that regular people can just create this thing, this government that gets to do things we can't. Like, where'd they get those special rights?
Right. It's like a magic trick, making something out of nothing. Okay, let's talk about consent of the governed, because that's a big one. Supposedly, we agree to be ruled, so it's legit.
That's the story, yeah. We vote, so we consent.
The source says that ain't how it works.
Yeah.
No one who actually believes in consent would want a government that can do anything it wants.
You're right.
Because then your vote only matters for you, not for telling other people what to do.
Exactly. And a source says, look at how many folks are fine breaking certain laws themselves while wanting everyone else to obey perfectly. Like, I'm special, I can handle it, but you need to be controlled.
Talk about a double standard. And then there's this whole statist pacifist thing. Like, how can you be the pacifist against all violence, but also believe in government?
Because all governments use force, right? That's how they get their way. The source says, a true pacifist can't support that, so they got to be against government too. Makes sense. And authority makes it easier to ignore violence, right? Like, those super patriotic types, they'll support any war as long as it's their country doing it.
Blind nationalism, man.
Yeah.
It's like they block out the bad stuff on purpose so they can feel good about their country winning no matter the cost.
The source says it's kind of self-imposed brainwashing. People want to believe in these big ideas without thinking about what they really mean in the real world, like the violence, the death, all that. Easier to just ignore it.
It's like they want a daddy figure to make everything okay, right? Like, government, protect me from the scary world.
The source even compares it to like a fear of growing up. Like
Yeah.
people want to believe there's someone in charge who knows what they're doing so they don't have to deal with the uncertainty of life. And remember that island analogy, if you were stranded with a bunch of folks, would you really want to set up a government? Or would you try to figure things out together?
That's a good thought experiment, right? Makes you wonder if forced obedience is really the best way to run things. And while we're at it, let's talk constitutions. They're supposed to be the answer to tyranny, right? Limit government power, protect our rights.
But the source says, look at history. The Soviet Union had a constitution, China has one, and those places ain't exactly bastions of freedom.
Because it's not about the words on paper, right? It's about the people in power. And the source says all this talk about equality from both sides of the political spectrum is mostly BS.
No one really wants equality, they just want to be the ones on top.
Basically, they want everyone else to be equal so they can be in charge of them all. And this whole left versus right thing, the source says, that's a distraction too.